Alright, hey everybody, it's 11:10 on Friday, April 14th, 2023, and I'm going to do a quick video on HYG, which is high yield bonds, junk bonds, and talk about the two really large trades that came in yesterday. So let's get started. Here we are. Before I get into the trades, I just want to show people who might not be aware that there's a correlation between SPY and HYG, and that's why I care about this particular ticker. To me, and perhaps to others, it is a measure of risk appetite. These two tend to move together. SPY will move up and down a little bit more. It's more volatile, but directionally, they tend to mirror one another. So this is just a chart to show that they move in tandem. All right. So yesterday at the close, this is what I saw on the disproportionately large trade screen, and I have it sorted by rank here. Part of my usual routine, particularly at the close, is to go through all the trades, sort them by rank, sort them by relative size, sort them by dollar value, and look for outliers. Look for anything that is really unusual and or noteworthy, and there are a number of things that I might check for, but HYG is one of them. And I saw that the 5th largest trade came in here, and I saw that the 7th largest trade came in here, and either one of those by themselves would be worth noticing. 2 is very, very noticeable. Both are the largest since October 28th, and I remember October 28th because I talked about HYG for a while, a couple of weeks. I didn't shut up about it, and I posted lots of charts, and some of you may remember, and you can go back and look if you want, but that date stands out to me. And so anyhow, the next thing I would do is to click on some of these links and pull up the charts, but before that, just to show how much came in, I filtered out only the HYG trades, and 8 of them were large enough to show up on this large trade screen. I mean, 2 really, really stand out, but we got another 3.2 million here. We got a couple of 800,000, a couple of 1 million share trades, another 795. So, I mean, they hit this thing pretty hard. The 2 largest ones stand out the most, but cumulatively, there's a lot of institutional volume here. And you can see 6 of these 8 trades are in dark pools. Dark pools are denoted with a little orange icon here on the left. And so, so the next thing I wanted to do is see what JNK did, JNK, which is another high yield bond, and they tend to move together as well. And both JNK and HYG are relatively liquid. And I thought, well, if HYG is getting a lot of action, maybe JNK is too. And sure enough, it was. We got number 12, we got number 22, and then just like HYG, we got a bunch of other, reasonably large trades. We got some 900Ks and 1.1 million and 3.3 million and so on. Oh, that was the big one there. 500K, 500K, 1 million. You get the idea. Lots and lots of volume. So the next thing I want to do is look at the charts. And this is what it looked like yesterday. I have filtered this to show just the top 5 trades for HYG. And you can see a couple of these smaller large trades came in during the day, but then right here towards the end of the day we got this one at 3:46 p.m. and this is by itself pretty large. This 3.2 million share trade. This is noteworthy, but then these two back to back. It's just right after the close too. This is really, really important. This is nearly 20 million shares just in those 2 trades, and then you throw in the other ones, we got 25, and I'm not showing all the other ones, but there's a bunch of smaller ones too that came in throughout the day, and it's quite clear that they were active in this ETF, unusually active. So so then of course I looked at the JNK chart, and it should come as no surprise they behave very similarly, and if you look at the patterns, the trades show up pretty much at the same time. We've got 2 and JNK at 1614 and 1612, and HYG 1614, 1608, and they show just a little bit above price as well, which is also interesting. So they mimic one another, and whoever was trading these was likely trading them both heavily. So then I go out and I look and see, well, how does this chart look relative to the last time we saw a size like this? And in this case, it was October 28th. And back then we got two really big ones. We got the fourth and sixth largest trades here, and we got a steep decline for the next, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions. We got a low, we got a little bounce, and then a test at the low. So for another 7 or 8 sessions, price remained low. Now, of course, it rebounded and made a new high here, but for the next week or so, it was quite clearly a downward move. And this is not at all a surprise when we see size like this, particularly at the end of a little run. We had a run here for, I don't know, 2 weeks or so, and some big trades right at the top. Those are almost always sells, and almost always we'll see price pull back, reverse in some form, and that's what we got here. So naturally, my expectation is that, well, we've had a run here as well in HYG over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, give or take. And we saw 2 very, very large trades here come in, and my natural inclination is that this is more likely selling than buying. I always think, if they wanted to buy here, why didn't they buy down here? Why did they buy down here? And that's not to say that they won't ever buy high and sell higher. It does happen, but probabilities do suggest that if we've had a run for a little while and then we see a large trade, it's more often than not selling. And this would correlate to what we've seen in SPY. SPY's been pretty strong here since, I don't know, mid-March or so, about the same time that HYG bottomed. So given the two move together, and SPY has been moving quite a bit, it would suggest to me that this is a risk-off move, that they are taking their gains up here with the expectation that price will turn. If we look at junk, we see the same thing. This was October 28th. It did the same thing that HYG did. We got a rally up. They sold a bunch. Price came back down. And just like HYG, came up, made another high. It oscillated around. What's extra interesting about HYG, or excuse me, about JNK here, is that we have another really large trade here in February. So I started thinking about why would this be here? Because HYG doesn't have anything that large on that same day. And turns out this is OPEX. And so you would expect to see elevated volume on OPEX, just like end of month, just like end of quarter. And that's what this was here. So this wasn't necessarily corresponding with a high or a low, as the large volume tends to do. This was more a function of OPEX. So, so what's important about these other trades is that this date, October 28th, was not OPEX, not end of month, not any significant day. It was just a day in October. I think 31st was the end of month. So this was the prior Friday, and they hit it really hard here on a day when you wouldn't normally expect to see volume, which I think stands out. Similarly, we had the same thing here on April 13th. That's not an important date. It's not OPEX, it's not VOLX, it's not end of month, it's not end of quarter, it's not anything. It's just a day. It was just a Thursday. It wasn't even an FOMC day or a CPI day or anything like that. It was just Thursday. So the fact that these came in so large on a date when you wouldn't normally expect that volume is, again, just further accentuates their size and meaning in my view. So this brought us down, and this brought us down, and we've had quite a rally here for the last few weeks. And my expectation is that this is selling into strength, and that we should expect price to come down. That was my expectation yesterday, and I alluded to that in my posts. So here we have today. Today we did get some downward resolution. Now the total move was 0.2%. It's pretty small in the grand scheme. It's not some major move down, but it does fit with this being selling, these large trades here being selling. If these were buys, I would not expect to see price go straight down from here and remain below that level for the duration of the day, and certainly not close below it. And then while we see these smaller trades have come in, this particular chart is showing the top 10 over the last 2 days. So we've got these big ones here from yesterday and a couple of other decent sized ones from yesterday, and prices below all of them. But we got this one here, 850K on a lit exchange during the day, and it came at a little, after a little pop. Got this one here at the close, after a little pop, and the manner in which price is behaving after these prints come in suggests to me they're selling rips. If these were buys, I wouldn't expect these not to also be buys, but they're all behaving rather consistently. The prints come in, price resolves down. Print comes in, price resolves down. Prints come in over here. We had that morning pop. We have that opening move, which I suppose is not uncommon, but quickly resolved lower. And it stayed down the entire session. So I don't know if it's going to come back up and retest or continue down lower. And there's no guarantees that it can't go up and trade a little bit higher too. But if that does, I would need to see a pretty substantial move to consider these trades out of play right now. And so far, everything that I'm seeing is suggesting that this is the first move lower, and perhaps there will be more. JNK, same thing. We've got a bunch of big trades here. Up into the rise, we saw these trades show up near the little peaks here on the morning rally yesterday. Price was off lower and made another high. Comes down, and then we see all this volume at the close. And just like HYG, resolved lower and stayed lower all day. Only difference I've noticed is that JNK didn't have any reasonably large trades come in today relative to the ones that came in yesterday, whereas HYG did have a few. Each of these two charts here is showing the top 10 over the course of the last 2 days. So price is behaving similarly, and I could pull up charts of SPY. We probably all saw that. SPY did the same thing. It came up for the first half hour. There was a consumer sentiment report at 10, and it quickly turned down and stayed down. So I think we actually had a rally towards the end of the day, and I think after hours it came back up. SPY anyway came back up and tapped the closing level from yesterday. So I think as of the time when futures closed, it was flat or very, very close to it. But regardless, HYG and JNK are suggesting to me that risk is no longer on, risk is off, and we should expect to see prices resolve lower here in the near term. So what does this mean? It doesn't mean crash scenario. It doesn't mean go out and buy a bunch of puts and expect this thing to go straight down. It doesn't mean anything other than that institutions appear to be profit-taking, selling their large positions, and that we should expect to see downward resolution in the indexes and in junk bonds. So as usual, these are, for me anyway, exit signals more than they are entry signals if someone was interested in shorting. This to me says, hey man, if you're long, maybe you should think about trimming or hedging or closing your longs. Because the whatever meat is left on the bone is, if there's any at all, is relatively slim, in my opinion. So that's it. Just to review, go back through them all again. Here we have the correlation. SPY and HYG, they move the same way. They're one's more volatile than the next, but directionally they move together. And if we look back here at that October 28th time frame I've been discussing with HYG, this little point in time here is the close on the 28th, and you can see what happened. Both SPY and HYG resolve lower over the next few sessions. In this case, it looks like from the 28th to the 3rd, so I don't know, 4 or 5 sessions roughly. And then, in this case, it continued back up, and maybe that'll happen again. I don't know. Maybe not. I just know at this point in time, we got a signal to say, close your longs. And at this point in time here, yesterday, I think the same signal arrived. And after that, we'll just see. One day at a time, we see what new information presents itself and adjust accordingly. All of these trades here that I've shown are really easy to find. Anyone who uses the site, you can just click this gear. You can tailor your search however you like. You can change the relative size. You can change the ranks that you want to filter on. You can change the conditions of RSI, for example. You can change volume and dollars and price and which tickers you want to use, and all these other different combinations of advanced search criteria. So any search, anytime, any ticker, any day, whatever you want to do, you could just click this gear and tailor it however you want, and see interesting new combinations of data that might be relevant or useful for you. Same thing with the chart. So if you look at the chart, and I build a chart that looks this particular way, if I want to tweak it and say, well, show me all the trades that are in the top 20 instead of the top 10, you can just click that and apply changes, and it rebuilds the page. So anyhow, that's it. If you have questions, you know where to find me. Send me a DM, send me an email. There are links down here in the footer for all that stuff. If you like these videos, please subscribe. I'll keep making them for you. And that's it, guys. Thanks for everything. Talk to you soon. Bye.